Testing. 1, 2, 3.
How's it?
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. You guys should all know by now my propensity for bad luck. And yeah, Discord decided to install 15 updates as I switched on. So apologies for the delay. I am terribly sorry for messing around with your time frames. Albert, how are you, sir?
Can't complain. Good in yourself?
I was good until about 5 minutes ago. I'd started up the machine at about 7:45, and I said to myself, "I've got plenty of time, all good." And then the thing just took much longer to restart. And then, like I say, I saw installing updates 1 of 15, and I was like, yeah. Anyway, welcome everyone to the Wednesday night stream, which is normally reserved for our work in progress Wednesday, but for tonight, we're using it as an opportunity to launch the next evolution of the Wildstorm Studios Discord community. My name is Richard, and I think I'm going to be a little bit more self-explanatory and a little bit more explanatory to everyone else as well with regards to stuff, because of course we've got a whole bunch of new members who might not be joining us for the live stream itself, but will have access to this recording tomorrow, possibly. We will commit to putting up the video at least 24 hours the following day. So right off the bat, I'd like to introduce my fellow host, fellow founder of the Discord community, Albert. Good evening to you, sir.
Hi. Well, you said introduce, so keep on going.
Say that again. You broke up a little bit.
No, I said you said introduce, so you should keep on going.
Well, I wanted you to say how's it at least, yeah?
I'm all good.
All good. So yeah, just to let everyone know what we're doing tonight on the agenda. So there's first some news and updates about the charity event and a couple of shout outs that I want to do with regards to that. Then we've got Darryn. I hope Darryn's out there in the chat.
Yes,
Darryn, shout out if you're there. Is he there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we'll bring Darryn in for a quick interview. Darryn, I have just recently connected with through Supernova Studios. Lindy had referred me over to him. And Darryn got fully on board with what we're doing with the charity project. But the more and more I delved into what Darryn's been doing and then saw his event that he's having this weekend, I thought it would be great to just bring him in and let him introduce himself and let you guys be made aware of what he's doing out in KZN. And then we'll roll straight into the actual launch. We want to clarify what it is that we're doing, why we're doing certain things, and the road ahead and what we hope for the Discord community. So right off the bat, let's lead straight into some charity news. Albert, I know that you have been working on the three main protagonists.
Two of the three.
Two of the three, yeah. But
there's one.
You're essentially the one overseeing all three.
Yeah.
Because Hanu is still going to send that screamer that he posted up earlier today over to you, and then you're going to have to include it in that what mini three-way duel you've got going there.
Yeah. No, so it's going good. Obviously, Hanu's one is done. So, but yeah, just by the looks of how big the one character Gazgul's foot and hip is compared to Gilliman, yeah, there's going to be some extra work involved.
Well, just to let the guys know, with regards to all of this sort of stuff with the charity, Jared has reached out to us. Jared is the one that's based out in Joburg and involved in the Comic-Con Africa event up there. That's also got the charity component added to it. And Jared's busy working on trying to merge a few STL files and get together a nice sort of centerpiece where this battle is taking place. So Jared has to now work very closely with Albert. Once Albert's got the dimensions of that three-way duel sorted out, then Jared's going to try and manipulate things around those and then get that printed and sent over to us down here in Cape Town. So yeah, it's turning out to be this mammoth logistical nightmare, putting everyone together and making sure everything's going to fit, and we come out with this really cool diorama at the end, or so we hope. So, Albert, have you heard any rumblings on your side? Have any? I know folks have been reaching out to you with stuff and anything like that. Is there anything that you want to share with folks?
Not really. Like I said, for anybody concerned that they're not having any contact with individual pieces, like I said previously, just to give everybody watching now and later, is that how we plan to do things is get the bulk of things painted up during workshops or events, and then in the meanwhile, if you have time now and you know you're not going to be able to maybe paint something later down the road, then you can contact us and then we'll send stuff your way. But yeah, that's just basically how it's going to go for now, and then hopefully we can have most of the things painted over the next 2 months, because we've got 2 works coming up, well, 3 basically, 2 next this coming weekend, and then 1 at Imperium next weekend, and then at Africa Comic Con. What else? No, I think there's 1 more somewhere.
Well, yeah, let's clarify some of those dates for everyone and put them all down for everyone. So this weekend, which is really cool for me to actually say this out loud, is the fact that we're actually doing this whole coast to coast charity event, because of the fact that we've got Darryn out in KZN hosting an event this weekend on the 15th of July. That's in Westville at the German Scout Hall, but Darren's going to give us all the information about what he's doing there shortly. And then on the same day, myself and Albert will be joining the guys at the Warren in Somerset West for a little bit of a paint jam for the charity specifically. Now, I know we've got people pitching up with models of their own. People are bringing through extras. I know I've got someone who's delivering some miniatures that they're donating to the project in the course of this week, which we will bring through as well. So yeah, so that's an event happening in Somerset West on the Western Cape, and then another one on the opposite coastline of KZN. So it's really cool to be able to actually say that that's what we've been doing with this charity project. It's been awesome to finally find a whole bunch of people and connect and have something that we're doing that's actually taking place across the country, which is cool. And then straight after that, the following weekend on the 22nd of July, we've got Imperium Games, also based in Somerset West, and they're busy organizing a paint jam for the charity as well. And then in the first week of August or the second week of August, we will still lock that date down for you. We are organizing with the charity, the South Africanists themselves, a gathering at the Pan American Games store with a paint jam. The very end of our deadline to get miniatures painted. But by that stage, Albert and I should be deep into building the actual base and the diorama itself, and we should have a lot of miniatures by that stage. So we'll be accounting for those last batch of miniatures to come in from Comic-Con. So that's the timelines at the moment. There will be more dates coming up. I know there were other guys busy planning, and they'll confirm those dates with me as and when they lock them in. But the fundraiser itself is looking like it's now going to be pushed to October, during the month of October, using BackaBuddy as our platform for raising the funds. But yeah, we'll confirm all those dates as we get closer to it, and we'll also have pictures of the diorama that we can then promote and the whole thing. So exciting times ahead for that. All right, so then let's lead straight into chatting to Darryn, because Darryn is, of course, hosting his own event across the country on Saturday, the 15th of July. And like I say, I delved a little bit deep into what Darren's been doing, and I know that he's got his own Discord. He's been building his own little gaming community, and I know that he hosts his own live streams and painting workshops and such. So I just thought it would be awesome to reach out to Darren and get to know the man and introduce him to the rest of you as well. So, Darren, if you're out there, you're more than welcome to put your camera on if you'd like, although you're not obligated to.
No, it's all good. I'm not looking
You're
that
quite
great. Just got back from work.
You're quite happy to keep the camera off for now.
No, those who know me, they'll know me. It's fine.
I don't blame you. Those who do know me on my community know me for the person who doesn't actually want to be on the camera, but somebody has to be the face. So yeah, not the most pleasurable experience, but it's always good to be on the other side now and interview you,
Yeah.
which is cool. So Darren, just introduce yourself to the guys and let them know who you are.
Okay, so I'm Darren, the chairman of the Durban War Games Club, or DWGC as we know it. And yeah, we play games, we do hobbies, we do things. Every 2-3 months or so, we host major tournaments and get-togethers where we all just hobby it up, fix terrain, build models, do things, and basically have as much fun as we can with the hobby.
Absolutely. Now that for me is what the joy of the hobby is. It's not just one single component. There's so many factors, and then there's so many different game formats, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's just one of the things I love about the hobby is that there's just so many components to it. Now, Darren, the community that you work with, I know that you have a lot of activities that you do and live streams and such. So, do you want to sort of dive into a little bit of that side of things, of what you've been doing, and letting the guys know of your activities and events that you host?
Yeah. Well, the Durban War Games Club is arguably one of the oldest war games club in South Africa. There's people who say it's been running since 1976. It officially got its name in 2000.
Okay.
Oh no, I think it was a bit more than that. It was just Durban. Anyway, and yeah, we've been running for ages. Ever since war games were around, we were doing it. I've been the chairman for the last 5 years now, but before then was running events since for the last 12. And yeah, what we like to do is obviously we have lots of the war game tournaments where we'll have 2, 3, 4 rounds of Warhammer games or Age of Sigmar or Horus Heresy, Blood Bowl, Necromunda, whatever people are into at the time. And then at the same time, one of the things I've tried to do, because a lot of people like to go there, but they go, oh, I can't go because my family isn't, I've got to do something with the family or leave them at home. So what we always do is we have a big painting table and people come around with their spouses, their friends who don't play the same game as them, and then just sit and paint all day. And what's nice is we at the German club in Westville, it's got a fully functional restaurant and bar. So
so you guys are pretty much fully catered for then, huh?
Exactly. It's quite nice. I like to think it's one of the few places where you go, play your game, and get served by a waiter while playing.
Yeah, no, look, that was one of the things I loved about a local store just up the road from us, the Warren. The Warren happens to be your brother sort of partner in hosting the charity event. Now, the Warren had a similar thing. They had a little sort of a fast food establishment within the premises. So you could pitch up and spend the whole day there, have a cheeseburger and chips, and it was just fantastic because you didn't have to leave, which is cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great to hear that you guys have got a location and a space, and that you've got a community that's been going for years and years. So it's generational.
We kind of got about maybe 50 signed up club members now, but then with them come so many more friends who play the game or just love the minis, and we're always there offering each other hints, tips, doing whatever we can to actually keep the community together.
Yeah, that's something that I also love, is the fact that you said that there are the folks that love the games and love the miniatures and painting and the hobby itself, but there's a large component of people who just love the minis and the miniatures and the dioramas and the scenes and the creativity and the work involved with that stuff. And that for me is always the appeal of trying to get more and more people aware of the creative side of everything, on the hobby aspect. Whether it be sculpting, whether it be army building, whether it be painting to a display standard, whether it be creating something from absolute scratch using garbage components,
Yeah.
or bits building. It's just the whole fun creative side of it is way more sort of encompassing to a lot more people as opposed to those who just enjoy the gaming side.
Yeah, and one of the things I'm noticing that really opens it up a lot more is the introduction of 3D printing. That's just made it so much faster. People
Yeah,
come up with amazing things that they find
yeah,
online or they design themselves, and then it just needs to be given life to.
yeah.
And yeah,
Look, Darryn, if you had told me about 15 years ago that there would be an opportunity one day where you could literally just draw something on a piece of paper, hand it over to someone who could turn that digital and turn it into a 3D rendered digital character, and then allow you to just print that all from the same space of your home, what the hell?
yeah,
And we're at that space where people are actually able to do that, which is phenomenal. But yeah, I agree with you. 3D printing has changed the game, and that's for us been a very strong and exciting component within our community as well.
yeah.
We've actually got support from Madness 3D, who have been supporting us since I think day one. Albert, since the beginning, when we started the Discord, Madness 3D has been supporting us. So yeah, it's just been fantastic to see the explosion of 3D printing.
Yeah.
Now, Darryn, do you want to sort of share with the guys what it is that you've got planned this weekend? Because I know it's not just the charity. The charity is like a small component of everything that you're doing on the day. And this is why I thought it would be great for us to, invite you on board and sort of tell everyone about the whole event and everything you've got planned.
Well, we figured that because of Warhammer 40K 10th edition's just arrived, a lot of people have a whole lot of nice shiny models, and there's all the new shiny rules,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And
no
all the
one's
controversy
really.
to go with it, hey?
Oh yes, yes, all of that, definitely. So I mean, as we all know, from all the main components of wargaming is rolling dice, learning rules, and complaining.
True that, yeah, yeah.
So with that, because it's also nicely situated in the middle of the year, and we've already had big events for the other main games in the year, we figured that this week we would do just a games day where people can go and bring things in and just
Brilliant.
meet up with people and have games. No major have to phone a week ahead and book or anything. Just rock up there, tables will be there, terrain, everything. People can come and play. At the same time, because we have all the hobbyists, we figured one of Byron over here from the chat, he went and printed out some really, really nice custom minis for the event that we're actually allowing people to walk in, paint them, and then we're just going to celebrate how cool they are for the day.
Yeah,
We've got
absolutely.
bits, there's a little bits bash thing being done by the Unseen Shop where people get to walk in, stick things together, and create abominations.
Yeah, I love
And
that stuff.
then the most fun part is this part of the charity where I've got so far confirmed about 6 or 7 guys who have far too many Tyranids and Orcs lying around at home.
Awesome.
And they
Awesome
want to
to
come
hear.
and drop it off there,
Brilliant.
and we're just going to start attacking them. We're going to paint and glue and everything. I know I've got most of the little guys from the Leviathan box that I just don't want to assemble, and I don't want them anymore. I just wanted the big boys, so they're going in the pile.
Look, it was not conveniently timed that we did this just as
yeah.
10th edition got launched. Because we know, I mean, look, I'm not a gamer myself. I'm a painter. I love the painting. I love the miniatures. I'm just a model builder to heart. But the thing about my past was I started with Games Workshop, so I'd often be the guy who wanted the one single miniature, but you needed to buy the entire fucking Battle Force box
Exactly.
just to get that one damn character that they had in the box.
Exactly.
So I get it. I get it where you've got tons in a corner piled up collecting dust and you'll never paint them. Or there's the new shiny box with all the new shiny characters, and then the tons in there that you don't actually want to touch and paint because you've got plenty of those. That's what we were looking for. So great to hear that you've got that same mindset.
No, I really found someone to take all the Marines, so I was happy with that. But I needed that Screamer Killer, man.
Oh man, I'm so jealous of Hanru. So Hanru is one of our top painters. He's based up in Pretoria. I don't know if you saw earlier today. He's actually already finished up the Screamer and posted it. So the Screamer is going to get packaged, shipped over to Cape Town and over to Albert's workstation, so that he can integrate it into the Thrucker. And let me just get this now on live on to everyone's ears. I got it wrong. I was calling him Marnius Kelgar. It's not Marnius Kelgar, it's Robert Gilliman that we've got. So before all the guys call me heretic and send out the Inquisition, I apologize. It's not Marnius, it's Reboot. So it's Reboot and Thraka that Albert's busy working with, and yeah, Henry's got that Screamer Killer, and I was like, I want that killer so badly because I grew up on the old Screamer Killer, the very early one, that original classic one.
The one that
even
was
then it
so heavy
quite
you
a
could kill someone with it.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, well,
Yeah.
most of the models from those days, even the
Exactly.
Orc Dreadnought, I've got an old killer can, all metal. And
Well,
yeah,
I
if you
actually
hurl that
think
thing across the room, you could hurt someone.
I actually think we might have 2 or 3 of those lying around. So maybe it'll be fun having them in the diorama next to the big one and seeing what that looks like.
Absolutely. That's the thing that we want to sort of remind folks about, and I'm glad you bring that up, is that it's not just limited to the orcs and the Tyranids and the Space Marines themselves. If you have any vehicles lying around that you really don't want to use anymore,
Nice.
you know, contribute. If you've got any sort of, we've got, I know Jared has been talking about trying to find some sort of Tyranid inspired terrain bits and bobs that he can print up for us so that we can merge them into the scene. So yeah, anything that you guys feel would be complementary to what we're building. The philosophy I have at the moment that I keep telling everyone, I'd rather have too much to work with than too little to put onto the table. So send whichever you think is going to be great. The only other component I'll ask for is that whoever's donating it, if they have the time, paint it up as well and send it in. So that way you're not just donating, you're contributing. You're actually being part of it, and you can say that little tank there is mine. So yeah, that's what we're hoping for coming this charity event. So Darryn, yeah, you'd be hitting the nail on the head for what we're looking for.
Good stuff. We also have more events planned for the rest of the year as well. I think one next month, another after, and obviously more time then for people to jump in and paint as well. So
awesome.
Works.
Well, Darryn, I'm glad you say that because that's one of the things that we're trying to do here at Wildstorm is we're trying to connect all these little groups, all these little sort of silo gaming clubs and hobby clubs and hobbyists out there, and bring them into this one safe haven, this one safe space where we can have all these events listed. So that's one of the new components we've added to the Discord. Albert has very graciously added in an event calendar right at the top of the Discord menu. So yeah, in future, if Darryn, if you've got any events that are happening and anything that even has a hobby component to it, please reach out to me. Let me know about the event and the details, and we'll be more than happy to share it on that event channel for you. And the great thing is, with us going public on the tier 1 side of things, we're hoping that a lot more people will then find this as an opportunity to find out what's going on, what's happening around their space. So yeah, looking forward to the future. And Darryn, thanks so much for reaching out and putting the charity as a component to your event this Saturday. Massive appreciation for that, because it is short notice and you got this guy on the other side of the country going, hi, can you paint some miniatures for free? So really appreciate that you jumped up and said, with pleasure, and not only that, are hosting a whole gaming and event day around it, which is awesome. So really appreciate all the efforts, and I encourage anyone out in the KZN area, and I know we have a couple of guys on our Discord that are part of that group, to go in and take part.
Good stuff. Thanks very much for the opportunity.
Awesome. Darryn, thank you so much for your time, bud. Really appreciate it. And thank you for your efforts. I know it's not always dished out to the person who's hosting and organizing and logistics and planning. I know the feeling. Been there plenty of times. You're not always appreciated out loud. Most people are always very appreciative to you personally, very quietly. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of extend a massive thank you to you personally for, taking the extra time in your day to organize these things, get people together, get people painting, get people gaming. And yeah, massive thank you to you.
Thanks, bud.
Awesome. Thanks, Darryn.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So yeah, if you're out in KZN and you have a chance, guys, go out to Westville, to the German Scout Hall, and there's going to be the DWGC event. Wait, did I say that right? DWGC. Yeah, DWGC this weekend out in Durban. All right, Albert, I think it's time for us to lead into the crucial component of tonight's stream. And what it is that we're actually doing and why we're making these big changes, and the thoughts behind them. They're not just things that we wanted to just sort of out there and see what happens and see what sticks. We've tried that already in the past. This time, I think we took a much more sort of educated approach to things. So before I lead off to Albert to start, just to let everyone know, uh, these changes are not triggered by any other reason than it is something that Albert and I do every year. Around this time, June, July, we always sit down and we look at what we've been doing on the Discord, what works, what doesn't work. We look at the Patreon, and we make some adjustments. It just so happens that this year it turned out to be quite a big change, and a change I'm very, very excited for. So with that, I'm going to start Albert off out the block with explaining why and what and the whole beginnings of some of these decisions.
All right. So first changes, I want to ask you a favor, Richard. You can drop your mic just a little bit, that you don't speak directly into it. Talk more past it, or else it gets a little bit distorted. There we go. Now you muted your mic, or you plugged it out. One of the two.
I muted it by mistake. Yeah.
Right.
Can you guys tell I like the boom arm?
All right. Yeah. So there's
it makes me feel like I'm legitimate. You know, like you got a microphone and boom arm, and it's Anyway, go for it.
All good. Well, so yeah, it's one of the main, I want to say, overarching changes made for moving forward now is to make to make things less confusing. I think we can almost almost just for, I want to say, easier references, because we're so used to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. There's going to be an open membership, and then there's going to be a supporting membership, and then basically a supporting plus membership, just to make it a little bit easier to understand. So the open membership is just put in place that whenever the times do come when things get tighter, that if you ever decide to jump off from a paying, I want to say, Patreon level, that you don't get booted off. We still want people around, and that's the same issue we had when we used to, or we still do, have events, and say, for instance, we give out tier memberships, that whenever the people are past their trial version, that they don't get booted off, that we keep on growing the community, because that's basically why we did start everything from the beginning, so that we can grow the platform, grow the hobby as a whole in South Africa, get more people on board and involved. So yeah, that's basically it for that, just to have more people on, make it for free, make it that you can meet somebody in the hobby shop and say, hey, there's this cool community I'm a part from. It's not going to cost you anything. Here's a link, jump on, enjoy, learn, and if you ever feel the need that you can also share that link, then it's just a win-win. So that's basically the purpose for the tier 1 moving forward. So, make sense?
Yeah, so as Albert's saying, a lot of these changes, a lot of the decisions are purely for streamlining things. It's also because in the past we've made a lot of promises that we wanted to keep, but it's hard to always maintain them on a regular basis. Things like what we tried previously with the painted miniature giveaway was great, and it worked for most of the year last year until Thunderbrush came along, and then everything grounded to a halt. So yeah, and the reasoning about opening up the public is exactly as Albert says. We want to be able to just invite people on. We don't want to be wasting time organizing trial memberships and making sure that we have QR codes for people to scan on given days, that each one's got to be specific to the event or the time frame that we're offering for people. In this case, it's now just public. If you want to see what everyone's doing, if you want to see what the community at large is up to, or if you want to just partake, you can now join. And like Albert says, we can literally now just share the link and invite as many people as possible, so that we can reach a wider audience and also reach as many people across the country as possible. So that's the reason behind that.
Yeah, so just to answer one of Ferry's questions in the stream chat is, so most of the links we usually sent out was limited and do expire, but obviously now that we have a open membership kind of structure, there is now a link that's not going to be to a limit or ever expire. So that's going to be a one-time use from now on. So just to clarify that, it was just to kind of safeguard ourselves against maybe having people use the same link over and over again and then having to reach out to people and say, well, what's going on here? So that's kind of the reasoning why some things had an expiry date on it. But yeah, that's not going to be the case anymore.
All right. Albert, sorry, I'm just trying to find that document. OBS doesn't want to see it, so I can bring it up through onto the screen. But yeah, let's carry on with that. So with Tier 1, Albert, do you want to sort of let the Tier 1 members know what it is that they actually gain access to on the Discord and in general?
Yeah, so the Tier 1 or open platform membership is just going to be your standard, most of the channels. Instead of listing everything that is included, I'm just going to rather list that's what's not included. It's going to be all the things regarding streaming wise. Now, the only reason for that is, just to clarify and give a reason for that, is when we do hit the time again, as you can see, we're pretty much at 13 people now. So as the platform grows on the stream side, where unfortunately Discord has a 25-person limit to a single stream. So for argument's sake, if we had 12 more people on the stream, then say for instance, we don't want to have the issue of having open members taking away something that somebody's paying for, in this case, a tier 2 or a person that's paying $3 a month, that's paying for the, I want to say, privilege or opportunity to join the stream. So just to kind of not have that intermix or cause any issues. And then the feedback channel is not going to be available, and then the digital feedback is not going to be available. So that is basically it, if I remember correctly. So it's not really anything to be worried about. Like, what we want to do is kind of, we're still, I don't know if we fully agreed on this one, Richard, but like we said, we want to grow the community. So as the videos are coming out, that's also a avenue for us to have more eyes on, so that if somebody comes across a South African painting video or community thing like this, that there will be a Discord link attached to, or yeah, that's always very dangerous, because then it does open up people to kind of have trolls, or have the worst case scenarios, have somebody kind of raid bombard your channel where it's just flooding it with bots. So either just send it, I don't know, we'll still have to finalize that, but yeah. So, but for argument's sake, that when we do upload a video, that it's still gonna go into the video archive, so that it would be available to be unlisted on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, just to kind of
at the end of the day, for example, tonight's video is being recorded. It will be made available within the next 24 hours within the Discord channels itself, and it needs to be accessible to the tier 1s, because at the end of the day, the tier 1s, although they can't join us on the live stream itself, like tonight live, and be able to actually ask us questions towards the end and partake in giveaways, they still need to know about the news. They still need to know about what we're doing. So we will post the video, make it accessible to everyone within the Discord immediately. Thereafter, within a short time frame, we'll decide to maybe make it go public and make it accessible to everyone else out there as well. But yeah, our main focus is this community, because that's what we work for. That's what I'm doing this, 7 days a week for. It's this community. I'm not going to bend over backwards for YouTube or Facebook. I'm not going to compete against everybody else out there. My focus is here, South Africa, and what we're doing. So that's what the Discord is all about, is trying to get it all focused and centralized so that everyone can find a happy medium. So yeah, the same response will be taken with videos and things like that, as Albert is saying. What I have done, folks, is for some reason my OBS wasn't pulling the PDF through so that you guys could see it up on screen. But what I've just done is I've posted the PDF on the stream chat. So tomorrow when we post the recorded version, we'll overlay this PDF onto the screen so people can see what it is that we're actually talking about. But yeah, Albert, so that was tier 1 public access. They're getting access to most of the channels on the Discord. And they're given access, of course, to participate in all the community stuff and everything that we do, whether it be painting competitions or charity events, as you know, what we're busy with at the moment. Is there anything else on tier 1 that you wanted to clarify before we move over to tier 2?
Yes, there is one more thing. So the only thing I forgot to add to the not included list is nobody can see it yet, but there is a, I want to say, newbie to pro video library being created. So for instance now, when somebody joins on the $3 or the $8 Patreon level, that they are open to, say, for instance, have digital feedback in the one case and then just normal feedback in the other case. So it's also then opens up for them to go and view the, I almost want to say, recommended videos to watch, because anybody can say, yeah, I'll just go to Miniac, you know, but in then lies a problem where it's more entertainment value than actual learning entertainment, in my opinion. And I know Richard would also agree. Boring stuff is where you learn a lot more rather than being entertained, unfortunately, in this hobby.
That's what Vince TV's videos are for, because he tends to be very but just to clarify, so the video library with all the sort of tutorial content and stuff like that is accessible to both tier 2 and tier 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's then progress on to tier 2, since we're already touching on that. And you know, going on to the whole thing of the tier 2. So before we touch on that, the reasoning, I wanted to make this change. I wanted to just clarify the reasoning behind this change. So up until now, folks have been very graciously supporting myself as a full-time miniature artist. And let me just repeat that, because a lot of people don't realize that I actually do this full-time. I am a full-time miniature artist, and I consider myself a professional model builder. So the support that I receive from Patreon is huge. Every single cent matters to me personally. But there's always been this nagging feeling I've had over the years. And it's not only as now being a content creator, if you want to put that title on us, but also as an audience member who's been a fan of YouTube and learning from YouTube in this hobby for so many years. And that is that I never could get my head wrapped around the idea and the concept that we would ask you, the audience, to support us to continue doing our hobby. And that never quite makes sense to me, that you're paying someone else to do the hobby that, you know, essentially we should be doing, that, you know, yourself, the audience, should be doing the hobby, that our job should be to encourage you to do the hobby, and not just you supporting us to make hobby and make videos that you maybe see once a week, with a very strong entertainment value, as Albert is alluding to. Whereas, you know, what we prefer doing is a different approach, and that is that our community is about community, and that community supports community. So the decision we've taken to move forward is to no longer just support myself as an artist, but more so to support the community and the future of this community and what we can do with this community moving into the following years. So the first big component that we've added is a community fund. So what we're trying to do here is say that now when you're contributing to the cause, you're contributing to what we're trying to do, and the Discord itself at large, you're not only contributing to supporting me in being able to do this and to produce a lot of this content, it also now goes into a separate small fund that then allows us to hopefully raise funds to do bigger projects, which we'll clarify in a few minutes when we finish up the tier 3 description. So with tier 2, the minute you are a subscriber, the minute you are supporting us financially, you are aware that 15% of whatever you contribute gets accumulated into this community fund. So that's the one big component that I want to get out there straight away, that this is not about supporting just me. It's not about paying me to keep doing what I do. I earn a living as a commission painter as well. And I am also then supported by Pandemonium Games. So it's not that I, am only solely reliant on Patreon, but for me, that was always one of the things that nagged me is that it never sat well with me that people pay me to just keep doing the hobby, and I then record myself every once in a while. For me, what encourages me moving forward is seeing an active community, seeing people do workshops, seeing people get together, events like Thunderbrush, which was just a, I still to this day pinch myself over the experience that we actually had there. And the fact that on our banner, Albert, have you noticed on our banner on Patreon page, in the corner, there's a picture of Roman Lepat. We've actually got a picture of Roman Lepat in our event on our logo on our page, which is great. It's like, could you imagine that was going to be the case, a couple of years back? So that for me is the biggest thing that we've implemented, is the fact that you no longer just support me. You're no longer just paying some guy to do a hobby. You're actually contributing towards the community at large, and that community has potential to now do some bigger and greater things, which we will get to in a second. So that is the start of tier 2, and it comes with a whole bunch of additional benefits. So Albert will allude to the benefits on the Discord itself and the changes that he's made there for that.
So yeah, for everybody or anyone who's been noticing, a lot of stuff has been moved around and much more streamlined so that certain things fall a little bit better. But yeah, for the most part, the tier 2 is going to stay as is. There's not really anything being added apart from the library. So it's not a case of we're trying to impress that you keep supporting the whole thing on board. It's just with streamlining, we still want everybody around. There is changes made that is more, I want to say, like Richard said, it seems more fair in both cases, in his cases and everybody else who is on the Discord supporting, so that there is I want to say, more in our own hands way to support the community instead of trying to reach out to stores for certain things, and we'll discuss that also later on. But yeah, for the most part, tier 2 is still staying as is. So yeah, that is basically that. And then obviously the only thing that has been added, and that's the agreement with Panda, is that for anybody who's on the tier 2 or $3 supporting level, is they're going to be eligible for, no matter what our server level thing is, that they're going to be eligible for 5% discount. So.
Yeah, just to clarify on that as well, I know because there was a question raised in one of the last streams. So in the past, we had a server level, what was it?
Ranking.
Like a server level ranking. Basically, the more active you were in certain channels, the more points you accumulated. Once you reached a certain milestone, you then gained a 3% discount from every purchase you made at Pandemonium Games, excluding discounted items and promotional items. But you then had to really work extra hard to then build up to the next milestone, which was a 5% discount, and so on and so forth. And it worked, and I know a lot of people took advantage of that, and a lot of people said it worked. Some people said it didn't work. The difficulty for us was then communicating the constant changes of people's levels on a monthly basis to Panda, and Panda, of course, then having to update it accordingly. So we just scrapped that. So apologies to anyone who did build up a nice big server level ranking, but I'm sure once you hear the news of what we've put in place, it won't upset you as much. So basically, as Albert says, once you are supporting us on tier 2, you automatically qualify for a 5% discount on every purchase you make at Pandemonium Games excluding discounted items and promotions. I was told I have to legally keep saying that so that nobody takes advantage of us saying the wrong thing. So yeah, so how that will work is, as of tomorrow, I'll be sending through a list of all the eligible members to Pandemonium Games, and we are going to now simply issue out a single discount code for the 2 levels that then people will utilize on a daily basis. So Panda only has to monitor that one single code for tier 2 and the one single code for tier 3. So on tier 2, they very graciously offered to then make it a 5% discount across the board. So whether you are active, whether you are on a stream, whether you are just busy with work and you're stuck in Secunda and you can't even join us on the stream, if you are a member on the Discord, you automatically qualify for a 5% discount at Pandemonium Games on any given purchase, excluding discounted items and promotional items. So yeah, and then the other benefit is, of course, what was I going to say now? The fact that as a member of the tier 2, you are automatically eligible for giveaways and any prizes that we might have.
No,
So
to touch on
tier 1 does not have that. Tier 2 does.
No. So just to touch on the giveaways, so we're also going away with the for instance now how we did in the past. If you're on the stream, then we'll do the draw. That's going out the door. So what we're gonna do moving forward, even if for some reason you join the Patreon, but you just want to be there to support whatever we want to do, but you're not necessarily even jumping on the Discord, that it's going to be a case of, for those that don't know, Patreon has a function where you can just pull an Excel sheet from Patreon, and then we're going to use that Excel sheet just to put all the people's name in the tier 2 or tier 3 and then do the random lucky draw from that. So it doesn't matter if you're stuck at work or you're still driving or life happens, if your name gets pulled, we'll notify you and send whatever we're deciding to do for that stream off to you.
Exactly. And I think all the guys that work in the financial industry will appreciate that, because it's generally run about this time that they're all stuck in audit season and tax season, so we don't hear from them. And it's a bit of a bummer that they're stuck at work and can't be part of live streams to be eligible for giveaways. So we're scrapping that as well. So like Albert says, discount, as long as you're a paid subscribed member on tier 2, 5% with Panda. And then you also are eligible for giveaways, whether you're on the stream, whether you're active or not. As long as you're still a subscribed member, on the date that we do the draw, we simply pull the list from active members on Patreon and Discord. So yeah, that's one of the big changes that we've made, and I think it's much better that way, because for us it just makes it easier for everyone. That they still feel they gain from it, even though they're not able to be active at the time. Cool. So that's tier 2, right?
Yep.
Okay. So on tier 3, the big changes are as follows. I'm going to start this one off because I know that there's a big component in there that Albert has taken on personally. And it's something that I want to let him have the opportunity to work on and share with you guys. So the first big change is, as a tier 3 member now, you will notice on the PDF that it actually still says $10. I did want to change it down to $8. I always like the idea of it being a roundabout number of about 150 Rand. But of course, the current exchange rate blew that out of the water, and $10 is now sitting at about 160, 170 Rand. I stand corrected. So I wanted to change that down to $8 to make it a bit more affordable for some people, and also just show that this isn't a money-making exercise, that I don't sit and become a hypocrite when I say how I'm struggling financially, and then I ask you guys for big lump sums of money. So we decided to try and change it down to $8, but we hit a bit of a snag on Patreon. Patreon won't let us change the price of a tier while there are members subscribed at the original price. It's obviously a logistical thing, because they'd have to have everyone agree to the changed price, and that's a nightmare. So I've kept it at the $10 mark, because my thoughts were that those of you who have been supporting me on the $10 mark, and I am truly nothing but grateful to those guys, None of them have seemed to argue or complain about the amount that they were contributing to. More so, just complaining about us fulfilling the promises and commitments that we made. So I've decided to keep it at the $10, just for ease of use, just so that we didn't put anyone out of their place. Like Albert had said in the beginning, we wanted to try and make this streamlined, so nobody has to go now sign on to Patreon, change things. Nobody has to resubmit billing. Nothing. Only the new members who come in simply sign on to whether they're going tier 2 or tier 3 and support us accordingly. Okay, so that's the tier 3 change, is actually still at the $10 mark, unfortunately, although we did try very hard to move it down to an $8. There is an option for us to create an additional tier. So there'd be 4 tiers, one with an $8, and eventually you phase out the $10 one, but it's just, to me, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm sure folks would understand that, we did try and make a change. But at the end of the day, the $10 is the set mark that we've had for a while now. And then the other additional big benefit is the fact that I mentioned to you, you get a 5% discount as a tier 2 member on the tier 3 because of your invaluable support. Pandemonium Games actually offered this to us and not us the other way around. But Pandemonium Games then said, well, for those who support us even more so, we then benefit them with an even bigger discount. So if you're on tier 3, you automatically qualify for a 10% discount on all purchases at Pandemonium Games, excluding discounted items and promotional products. I'm going to get tired of saying that one. So 10% discount for tier 3 members, 5% discount for tier 2 members. And then the last thing I want to touch on before Albert takes over is that on the tier 3, instead of, I think it's still a 15% discount. I can't remember. Did I say 15%? Not discount, contribution. 20% contribution. I did check. Yeah. Okay. So on the tier 3, because of your invaluable support and because you're contributing more, we felt then a greater percentage towards that community fund would be, only makes sense. So on tier 3, you're contributing a portion of your funds towards me and supporting me with doing the Discord and running all the community events that I try to do. But at the same time, a small portion of 20% of your funds gets allocated to that community fund. But there are some changes on the Discord, and that's where Albert comes in with this one.
Yep. I see you messed up a little bit on the PDF. After the tier 3, there's a tier 2 again. So yeah, the one other change coming to the tier 3 ones is that you're going to be able to submit a photo for digital feedback. So obviously, having a visual hobby, it's always hard to put into words on things you can change or whatever. So some of you would seen in the past that either Julia or myself would take that photo and then just do a simple, Photoshop and do some color corrections and stuff like that, so that you have a visual cue to what we mean. And usually that's a little bit better to work off from, because you kind of see where your end result is, what in our opinion, not necessarily what you have to do. So that's basically just the extra benefit what we wanted to give, obviously, for supporting more and all of that. So just giving something on from our side back to you guys.
Albert, you still there?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I've finished.
Oh, you finished? Okay, cool. So like Albert was saying, he really has taken on to this whole teaching experience, because for me, like I mentioned to everyone else previously, it's been fun to see him go from student to then mastering his passion for the hobby and now wanting to actually now teach it to others. So this is a personal thing of Albert's. He's taken it on, and what has been fantastic is that it's gotten infectious, because Julio reached out and said that he wants to be able to, when he has the time, to offer the same advice to people. So Julio, if any of you don't know who Julio is, just scroll down to the bottom and look at Julio's gallery, and I think the gallery will be enough said. So it's really cool that the tier 3 is now structured more for also beginners and those who want to improve their painting. That they jump on board, they're contributing to the community, they're contributing to the Discord, but at the same time, they're gaining access to all those features, all those benefits. They're getting a discount with Pandemonium Games, but then on top of all of that, they have the opportunity to actually get personal, direct, digital feedback from Albert on a regular basis, myself as well as Julio. So you've got three, I want to use the term loosely, pro painters on standby to give any assistance, advice, tips, and really guide people through their painting journey. And then the thought process is, of course, once they feel that they've gotten comfortable with everything and they've learned what they can from us on a one-to-one basis, they can drop down to tier 2 and still have access to all the Discord community, all the different activities and so on and so forth that we're doing, and still be eligible for those benefits. Unless, of course, they just love what we're doing and they're able to, they can stay on tier 3. But yeah, so those are the three big changes, is that tier 1 is now a public channel. Tier 2 is a channel that allows you access to pretty much everything that we do here, makes you eligible for giveaways and prizes, makes you eligible for the 5% discount, and gives you access to the live streams. And then on the tier 3 side of things, it's all of the above, plus now a 20% contribution towards the community fund, plus a 10% discount with Panda, as well as that digital feedback, that personal one-to-one communication with members of the Wildstorm Discord team. All right, so Albert, I think let's move on to the last sort of thing that we wanted to address for everyone, which is this community fund. What is this pyramid scheme that we're getting people into? How are we going to defraud their money and run for the hills afterwards? Let's clarify.
It's going to have to be a very long scheme, though. I think it's going to be better to try and steal cars or something.
Yeah, but look, I was about to say, if we want to make money, we haven't got a lot of members on here to do that. So it's not like we're going to be, running off for the hills with millions. But yeah, the community project, like I said to you guys earlier, is something that has been nagging me for a while. And when Albert and I initially started the discussions of what we wanted to improve and change on the Discord, this thought became something that was important for me to put forward. And thankfully, Albert agreed. Albert sees what it is that I'd proposed. And from what we've heard from everyone else so far, everyone else is in full agreement. So the community fund is a number of things. It's an opportunity for us to now take the funds that are being allocated to the Discord. In other words, that 15% from the tier 2s and the 20% from the tier 3s. And what we want to basically do is be able to allocate those funds separately into a sort of slush fund, if you will, whereby we can then use those funds to purchase and provide for our own giveaways, our own prizes, our own vouchers. So, for example, if we have a giveaway, which, by the way, we do have tonight, we can then offer a voucher to a certain value of money, and whoever wins that voucher, instead of then sending you to a particular store that maybe you don't want to buy from, we will then actually reach out to you, the winner, and go, name the store, and we buy the voucher for you. And that way you get to spend your voucher where you want with the store that you want to support and that you may have been supporting for a long period of time. The other thing that we want to do with the community project, with the community fund, is be able to then, of course, fund projects and events that we want to host moving forward. So the first one is actually happening right now as we speak, which is the charity event. One of the things that Albert and I have to be aware of is that there might be a cost involved in actually putting together the boards and the materials like spray cans and primers and basing materials and so on and so forth. And just to give you guys an idea, we did some costings for the boards of the diorama, the boards that we'd like to get. We're looking at spending almost 500 Rand to get 4 boards together. So the community fund allows us to then say those funds can be then utilized for community events, for community projects, or anything that is going to be driven towards improving the community. And the charity is one of those sort of things. So that is an example of how we could then utilize those funds effectively for community-driven projects. The other component is to do workshops. And once again, I'm going to hand over to Albert because I know that, like I say, he's been really taking on the teacher mantle. So he has some ideas of what we can do with the community fund for workshops and lessons and so on and so forth.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna almost repeat one of the examples I said earlier in the previous stream. So say for instance now where we get invited to host a event within an event like we did at Comic-Con. So wanting to be the, I want to say, face of the painting community for South Africa wasn't a very feel-good moment when you had a bunch of new and semi-experienced painters join to paint their first miniature or their 50th miniature and tell them, yeah, so you got your paint and everything, and you then give them a business card to put the paint on and then use that as a dry palette. So a bit of a sad moment for my painter soul. But for example, that we're not going to go and run out and buy 10 Red Grass Games palettes, but that then at least allows us to go to Mambo's or Crazy Plastics and just buy the best wet palette you can have, a flat Tupperware container at least, bare minimum, and then go to workshops and stuff to use the stuff we, I want to say, take from the community fund and then spend it on something that is actually needed in events like that. So Paul Richard also had to kind of organize just the bare minimum. Luckily Ryan donated us the big box with paints and stuff, so that helped a lot. But trying to organize paint brushes, we didn't have wet palettes, we didn't even have dry palettes, so just the normal things to seem a little bit more organized. And then I want to say, moving on from that, just to kind of clarify that physical events, and I want to say we can also then try and do what we never could have done before on the Discord, is try to do workshops on the platform itself. Now, obviously, if I host the event, I'm not going to go and say, okay, so order this model by Van Sale, blah, blah, blah. Money comes to me and I just take my profits and run. Because I'm using the Discord as a platform to do and advertise and do the workshop, I'm going to basically do the same structure, that 15 or 20% of that money is going back into that, I want to say, community fund, so that it's not just the people benefiting and I don't want to benefit myself. I've got no financial issues with that side of things, so I'd rather give back and support where my heart is. I created this Discord with Richard, so it would be, I want to say, a very shameful act if I just took the money and run for the hills, like Richard would say, but that's not where my heart is. But yeah, so that we at least not just focus on physical events. Like, we have members that scattered all around the country, some in more populated places than not. So at least it gives that option to people then to, that, for instance, I'm just going to try and kind of give a faint idea what I'm talking about when we want to do a workshop on the Discord. So for instance, now I'll rather contact a 3D printing guy like Van Sale and say, cool, there's going to be only limited to, for instance, 25 of these models printed, because we only have 25 slots. Well, okay, 24 including myself then, and that the teacher's not kicked out. But instead of having a lot of middlemen running around saying, okay, buy the model, you pay me, blah, 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 everything gets packaged at one thing by Van Sale. He then gets all the orders in, the money, the orders, you get your models, and then afterwards I get my portion, and that portion gets then split back into the community fund. So it's a lot more, I want to say, just streamlined, instead of what we tried to do sometimes in the past of, okay, no, maybe, I don't know how Richard usually did stuff, but if you, like he did private classes, but for me it just seems a little bit more easier to kind of do single hub exercises and then just take it from there. But The idea is just that even if we do physical classes and say, okay, we've got a group of 5 people interested in starting out the hobby, that it's not going to be a case of me having to spend my own money to grow the community, that I'm not going to go run out and buy 10 big child models or bus and use that for the first time painters, buying just a normal box of Space Marines and using that then to kind of grow the community. And again, if I do charge anything, that money goes back into the community. So it's kind of just where it's leading into.
Okay, so yeah, as Albert is saying, we want to be able to invest in buying materials and products and tools that we need to be able to actually host proper workshops and proper events. As Albert alluded to, our comical experience of Comic-Con. You know, I had mentioned this previously, where running Thunderbrash, I was a one-man operation, running the whole damn thing. Broke myself silly, but the thing ran quite smoothly. We then pitch up at Comic-Con, and there's 10 different supervisors, and there's the landlords of the venue, and we couldn't get electricity running, we couldn't get proper lighting, and it's frustrating because we want to put the best foot forward. So, as Albert is saying, we want to be able to take that community fund and invest in being able to provide 10 wet pallets. And look, we're all smart South Africans. We all know not to go and spend a fortune on 10 red grass pallets. That's just a waste of money. But as Albert was saying, if we can get 10 pallets or 10 Tupperware containers together, we can get sponges, hydration sheets, all ready to go. If we want to be able to invest in a few lamps, so we can actually then be in a position where if you are across the country and you've got people getting together to do a painting workshop and you'd love to be able to host us, we can pitch with equipment. We can pitch and be able to set up, be ready to teach, be ready for people to paint and hobby, and no longer struggle with trying to introduce people to something when they're painting under, daylight coming into the hobby store, and they're painting on the back of a business card because, that's all we've got. So we want to be able to avoid those kind of things. And then, as Albert was saying, all funds raised during workshops like that or any events that we host, or if we are able to now approach more sponsors. So that was one of the other things that we had in the past. And it was more of an assumption than anything else, is the fact that because we got such incredible, strong support from Pandemonium Games, everyone thought that we were Pandemonium Games exclusively. So I am very happy to tell you now, live on the stream, that we've got full permission from Pandemonium Games to approach other sponsors. So that way we can get more hobby stores involved in being able to not only support us, but in turn support their own communities. So any funds generated in that regard, where it is sponsorships towards the community, a percentage of those funds goes straight to that Discord fund. So, you can see there's a lot of opportunities for us to be able to raise some funds and then utilize those funds effectively to be able to host workshops, classes, to be able to provide better equipment and so on and so forth, better resources. And like we started off with, being able to provide our own prizes and not be reliant on the sponsors and so on and so forth. In the past, that's always been one of the struggles, getting the stock to us so that we could actually then get it out to the to our members when the time was due, and at the same time getting prizes that were actually valid. It's not fun when you're a veteran hobbyist and you've been painting for 20 years, you've invested in the entire AK Interaction 3rd gen range of paints, and then on the Discord you get a paint starter set as a prize. Just doesn't work. So that's one of the things that we want to be able to change. Is like I said, we would rather be able to invest in a voucher, and that way you as the hobbyist know exactly what you want to invest in. You know exactly what tool or purchase you want to make, and then the added benefit is that we don't want to limit you to just one store. You can invest that voucher into any other store, or if you want to be really smart, take advantage and invest it into Pandemonium, and score with that additional discount that you get. So yeah, that is the purpose of the community fund. It has always been about community. A lot of people tend to think that things like this are opportunities for us to put ourselves on a pedestal or to rant and rave about how good we think we are. At the end of the day, that has never been the case. And I think you can see that by the changes that Albert and I have put in place, that for us, it's about community. It's about finding the Darryns out there in the KZN areas. It's about finding the Jacques out in East London, the Henrys in Pretoria, you name it. There's guys across the country that are taking part in what we're doing. And we just want to continue doing more and continue doing it more efficiently and more consistently and to the best of our ability. So yeah, I look forward to my next stream because of course I've got a new investment in a new light, a new boom arm. So I'm hoping to improve my camera angle. That's been a struggle that Albert and I have fought over for the last 3 years. We've used multiple camera angles, multiple cameras, multiple, DIY solutions. But we're finally getting to a point where we've actually got the right equipment. We need to just get the right angle. But quite excited for the way forward. I hope that you guys can all see what it is that we're trying to do. I hope that you guys will continue to support us, those of you who are members already. For those of you who are joining us on the public side, I hope that you find benefit in being part of our community. The great thing is there's no money out of your pocket, but you do get to take part in everything that we're doing here and sharing your work and also asking people for advice and so on and so forth and partaking. And should you feel that you believe in what we're doing and that you feel that you want to support us, then you're welcome to then jump onto the tier 2 or the tier 3 access and partake in those benefits and really get actively involved in this wonderful hobby and something that has rewarded many of us on so many different levels and in so many different ways. So we continue to, hopefully provide that safe space for you here to enjoy that hobby. Right, Albert, shall we open up for a bit of a 5-minute Q&A and see if there's any questions before we wrap things up?
No. Everybody can feel free to
Cool.
ask away.
All right, so yeah, this is one of the other added benefits of why we do it on the Discord. I had someone the other day ask me, why don't you guys do it on the YouTube? We prefer the Discord. We prefer the fact that we can control it and that there's 25 seats and that we've got people that we can actually communicate and open it up to you guys to actually talk to us. If things get bigger and we do start running out of space, we'll address that problem when it gets there. But for now, this is one of the benefits. So yeah, the floor is open. Anyone out there that's on the stream, if you have any questions regarding what we've done or the changes that we've implemented or any other suggestions that you'd like to throw forward, now's your chance. And this is usually when everybody goes quiet.
Darryn has a very open-ended question in the stream chat. How do you stay motivated? Regarding what?
Darryn, that's a damn good question, bud. Yeah, you can ask the guys. It's a daily struggle for someone like myself. One of the things that I've mentioned very briefly to a lot of guys is that you go through a lot of imposter syndrome. You go through a lot of depression of trying to struggle and maintain and compete and so on and so forth. But yeah, if I can be honest with you guys, the real motivation comes from those moments that happen every so often where someone sends me a message and just talks about the impact that what we're doing has had on them. And then hearing, people across the country making an effort to put together an event. We've got Jacques out in East London raising funds with his guys because unfortunately they don't have any 40K miniatures to contribute, but they want to partake, so they want to raise funds. And then we've got people reaching out to me that I've never heard of, wanting to contribute models. And that's what keeps me motivated. Those are the moments that pull me out of the slump of, the frustration and the depression of day-to-day struggles. But yeah, that's one of the ways we stay motivated. It's just seeing the community grow and being more and more active. And I think that's key for me. Albert, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, no, he asked about painting related, but I think I'll just add to your thing is, for me, since day one and still to this day, I know that we can always improve what we're trying to do, yeah? So that's one of the main things for me is that there's always room for improvement. If we kept everything like it was since day one, it would have been a bit of a train smash. But yeah, just trying to constantly cater for what we feel and what the community feels would work better. If it's not the whole idea of this isn't that it's a one-man or two-man show. I think by this point now, we've made it very clear that it's not about us or you or me. It's just trying to grow this wonderful hobby we have. Doesn't matter in what historical, sci-fi, wargaming, sculpting, I don't know what else is there. Even if we do get to the day where there's people casting stuff, you know, it's just trying to get it bigger and better and keep on improving. So yeah, that's just from my side, and trying to do our own things we want to do. Is you started Wildstorm as a community thing from the Warren side, and it's grown to what it is today. And for me, I want to try to get more people painting. That's always been my goal. That's why I kept on like trying not to just improve my own painting, but trying to, I want to say, be a better teacher at the end of the day. But yeah, so that's hence I'll keep on saying we want to do more workshops. We want to get people painting more. so yeah.
Very much so. All right. Any other questions? Anyone else got something else out there for us? Take a look on the stream chat and see if there's anything.
I do want to just also clarify one thing. There's no big plans now, obviously, for the, I want to say, Discord workshop side of things now, because we've got this massive charity project in the wheel. It's now already turning and already extending timelines because this is just growing at a rapid pace. But yeah, just to kind of give you guys an idea, is it's not regardless of what tier level you are, because you are on an open platform and you want to be keen to be a part of a workshop. Obviously, that's also a way for you, if you're not really interested on being on the spot, on the streams and all of that stuff. But if we do get to the point where we can do, say, every 2 months or a month, hopefully, that would be nice, do a workshop, that at least in that way, that you're not just there part of whatever the open platform is, but at least you're also inadvertently funding the community as well. So just trying to get more fingers in more pies and all of that jazz. But yeah, just try, grow, and hopefully by doing stuff, more workshops and events, that it would maybe entice you to jump on and see what we're trying to do here and all of that jazz. So yeah.
Am I off mute? Yeah, making sure. I'm just having a bit of a giggle because I must be honest, Waldo, if you're out there, I agree with you, bud. Albert's looking sharp, man. He had a haircut or something, because he's looking a lot younger than we've seen him in the past.
I shaved and I combed my hair slightly for change. Usually I have a beanie on. So
all right, yeah. But is there any other last questions? Anyone wants to switch on their mic and ask their question verbally? You don't have to type it in via stream chat. That's one of the beauties of Discord. You can just unmute and jump in and ask us a question.
I'll make it even simpler for everybody. If everything's understandable what we said, just put a thumbs up in the stream chat. Then at least we know there's nothing wrong. I'll check. I'm gonna wait half an hour for one thumbs up. Okay, there's one thumb going.
No, there's one. We got one. We got a couple. There we go. It's
right.
working. People are alive. We haven't bored them to sleep yet.
Okay.
That's cool
All
stuff.
Good. We should use that one more often.
Yeah,
just give us a thumbs up, just an indication.
Yeah, just to let us know that it's actually working or we are broadcasting. Yeah, definitely. All right. I think that about wraps everything up then, huh? Just see that there's no last minute questions popping up on that stream chat. And otherwise, I think we're good to go. Check lots of thumbs up. Awesome. All right, guys, let's wrap things up and put things to bed for the night. So tomorrow I will post that PDF document on the rest of the Discord, so everyone on tier 1 gets privy to what it is that we're doing. Albert and I will work on getting the video recording set up and maybe edited a little bit here and there, and post it up for you guys tomorrow as well. And then don't forget, on Friday night we've got our Keir and Farf, or the local version of a painting jam live stream. And that starts from 7:30. Whether you are the first person or not onto the stream, you start the stream. And basically, it's just an opportunity for anyone who's hobbying at that time around the country to sit and actually at least hobby with fellow like-minded individuals. And then next week, Wednesday, we'll have the next coming stream. And what I am hoping to do is have an interview with the guys from Joburg who are hosting the Comic-Con painting competition. So they can maybe give the guys up in Joburg a bit of insight into the rules, the structure of the competition, how it's going to work and everything like that, because I know folks really enjoyed Thunderbrush 2023 and are quite excited and keen to get involved into more painting competitions. So hopefully next week I've got an interview for you. But I think the last thing to wrap up tonight is a giveaway. So what I've decided to do is I'm contributing 250 Rand from the Wildstorm account, which is my personal account, before we adding any community funds. So before anyone accuses me of taking funds out of the community fund, this is from my personal funds and just my personal way of saying thank you to those of you who've actually joined me on the stream tonight. Because it's no surprise that it's the usual suspects, it's the usual faces. And I just wanted to give an opportunity one last time to those who've actually made the effort to join me on the stream tonight to be eligible for a 250 Rand voucher. And in keeping to our promise, the voucher will be open-ended. So whoever the winner is, I will reach out to you tomorrow and find out where you want that 250 Rand voucher to be purchased. And I'll make that purchase and then send the voucher code over to you. So, Albert, have you got a list of everyone who's on the stream so far? Just the guys on the stream tonight. We'll do all other giveaways moving forward from tomorrow.
Quickly do that.
So
yeah, I just wanted to add. No
I
worries.
meant to spring this on you before the contest, not before the stream, not at the end. Sorry.
All right. So yeah, I just wanted to add for anybody that's wondering then when these changes are gonna like roll into effect, that it's gonna be a case of, I want to say, obviously everybody who's not on the stream currently, they still have to watch the video, and we've got the workshop coming up and all of that jazz. So I would almost be safe to say over the weekend the limitations would take into place. Is that all right to say, Richard? Just so it gives everybody ample time to catch up in any last questions and all of that jazz.
Yeah. So if there's any changes that will impact tiers, we are going to give it a couple of days before we fully implement them. But I have made the changes on Patreon, so any new members can immediately go to Patreon and they'll see the 3 tiers. There's actually still the tier 1, the original tier 1, which is on a coffee donation $1 thing. It's actually null and void, but it's still there because, of course, once again, it's that whole thing with Patreon. There are a couple of subscribers still contributing $1 to the Discord. So therefore, I can't change it, I can't cancel it, I can't delete it until those 3 members are off. So you'll see the changes on Patreon. Guys can immediately make their changes or contributions accordingly. And some of the stuff I know, Albert, you've already been filtering and changing through. But yeah, anything that is going to impact the tiers, we will only really roll out effectively over the course of the weekend, and then be fully active from Monday, I think.
That is good.
Cool.
Just
all right.
Pick 1 or 2 more things.
We'll give Albert a minute or 2 to bring up all the names on the stream. So this is just irrelevant of whether you are a tier 2 or a tier 3 or whatever the status may be. Just anyone who's actually joined me on the stream tonight. And let's have that spin of the wheel, which Albert is going to bring up for us in a second.
Okay. Okay. See if this works, that I can pull it up without everything breaking.
Well, while you bring that up, Albert, there's one other thing I just remembered now that I wanted to let the guys be made aware of. So it was mentioned in the stream last week, but of course, because the new members joining us for this particular recording, we've been given the go-ahead by Pandemonium Games. We're going to start facilitating boutique orders. So those boutique models like Robot Rocket, Neko Galaxy, Big Child Creations, Journeyman Miniatures, to name but a few. We're going to now try and facilitate those orders and those particular stock items through the Discord. So you'll be able to actually do pre-orders and so on and so forth. So one of the things I want to make mention of is if you see any Kickstarters that are ideally suited for this community. For example, I know Chimera does a lot of Kickstarters. I know Scale 75 does a lot of Kickstarters. Redgrass Games just wrapped one up with their overpriced, very expensive lamp. But yeah, it's because that lamp is expensive, man. But yeah, if you see any awesome Kickstarters where you feel there's a large component of this community that would enjoy that Kickstarter, let us know, because Pandemonium Games have also given us authority to maybe even be able to back those Kickstarters as a retail pledge. So yeah, lots of little opportunities that we're working on, lots of little things that we've got planned behind the scenes that I haven't divulged yet. But yeah, we're excited to see where things move in the next coming months. There's still more stuff coming up in the pipeline as well. So October, we've got the charity fundraiser. And then in October, we've also got the potential announcement of Thunderbrush 2024. And there's things happening on that one. I won't say much more. Quite exciting. And then November is, can you believe it, our 3rd birthday. So usually in the month of November, we have big celebrations and giveaways and so on and so forth. And we get all our sponsors involved. So you're joining at a good time. Stick around. And hopefully you're going to enjoy the journey. Albert, are you ready on your side?
Yes, I've just realized a big mistake I've made with all the events.
Yeah.
So my work PC is UK time, so everything is an hour late. I just saw the thing pop up. I'm like, oof, gotta change that tomorrow.
All right. So events calendar will be updated tomorrow to South African local time, not UK standard time. Okay, cool. Sorted. All right. Albert's got all the names up on the wheel. Albert, have you got that up on a screen for the guys to take a look at? Or
Yeah, under the live thing.
There we go. So yeah, there's a live stream screen open with all the names. Please check that your name, if you're on the stream, is there. Who's S?
Susan.
Susan. All right. And Albert, whenever you're ready, spin that wheel. Who am I giving my hard-earned money to?
Man comes and join for an interview and he walks away.
Puts us up on the street and then takes our money. I love it. Nice one. And we're getting sirens in the background. Love it.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Darryn, that seems to be the luck on this Discord. We've had that in the past. We've even had someone win 2 giveaways in one night. So it just happens, bro. But yeah, I'm actually quite happy it's going to you. As saying thank you for your efforts in hosting the charity event this coming weekend, bud.
Much appreciated, guys.
Awesome. So Darryn, look, you and I were going to be chatting anyway, moving into the weekend, and then of course after the weekend to arrange all the models that you guys have painted. So I'll be reaching out to you to confirm your voucher and where you'd like me to make that voucher purchase from.
Good times. Thanks very much.
Awesome stuff. Great, man. Lovely. I actually think that was kind of a nice wrap up. All right, Albert, anything last words from you?
No, all good. I think we've covered everything. So.
And look, we've been going for just over an hour and a half, so I think it's more than well into the time, and I won't waste any more of your guys' time. So this is my opportunity to say thank you once again to everyone who's gotten us here. And there are the usual suspects, and a couple of you are on this Discord. Some of you I even have known since before the Discord days. So to all of you, I want to just say a massive personal thank you for helping us get to this particular stage. And I hope that yourself and any of the new members coming in on board get to join us for the journey ahead. If you guys remember at the beginning of the year, I said that this was going to be the biggest year for Wildstorm Studios. And for the beginning part of the year, it was most certainly that. And then over the last couple of weeks, it's been the whole challenge of the daily struggles. But really excited about this, really excited by the feedback I've been getting, and really excited with the charity event. We've now found a whole bunch of new fantastic people out there. So really, really keen and excited for the remainder of the year as we move into the second half. I'm freezing my ass off. We need to get out of the shed, man. So Albert, Just one last word of thanks to you. I know a lot of the guys don't see all the work that you're doing behind the scenes. All the adjustments on the Discord, all the profile management permissions and setting up the tiers and the whole thing, that is solely on you, and a massive thanks to you for that. Really appreciate the efforts. And yeah, you are currently the very definition of that saying I shared with you the other day, and that's what I think I want to close out with, is that the strength of a community is only in the activeness of its members. And it's active members like Albert and the Jacques and the Hanrus and the Waldos, and there are so many more names, Andres, Benjis. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of names that I want to just rattle off. But just a massive thanks to everyone who has been active. And I just hope that you'll continue waving that flag high for the coming future. Otherwise, keep painting up a storm. Have a good evening. And I'll see you guys on the Discord. Good night, everyone.
Cheers.
Yes. Bye bye.